In the world of professional sports, everyone's looking for that edge, that one tiny thing that puts them on top. But the line between peak performance and, well, cheating, it can get really, really blurry. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most notorious ways athletes have crossed that line: blood doping.
So let me ask you this. How far would you go to win? It's a tough question, right? But now, imagine millions of dollars, legendary status, your name etched in the history books, all on the line. The pressure is just immense. We're about to see just how extreme those lengths can get.
Okay, so what are we even talking about here? Blood doping. It sounds pretty intense. Well, the official definition from the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, is basically any sneaky technique or substance used to jack up your red blood cell count. And why would you do that? It's all about one thing: oxygen. More red blood cells means more oxygen getting to your muscles, and that changes everything.
Right, so how does this actually work? You might be thinking it's just, popping a pill or something simple like that. Nope, it's way more involved. There are two main ways athletes pull this off, and they're both pretty wild.
So you've basically got two main options on the blood doping menu. First up, you have EPO injections. EPO is this artificial hormone that essentially fools your body into making way, way more red blood cells than it normally would. The second method, it's a lot more hands-on. We're talking blood transfusions. Yeah, literally taking your own blood out, storing it, and then putting it back in right before the big event. It's like giving yourself a supercharged blood boost on demand.
And here's the crazy thing about EPO: it's not some weird foreign chemical. Your own body makes it. Your kidneys naturally release EPO to tell your bone marrow, hey, we need more red blood cells. So what cheaters do is just hijack that system. They inject a synthetic version to basically scream at their bone marrow, putting production into absolute overdrive.
All right, let's break down this whole transfusion thing, because it's like a science project from a spy movie. Step 1. About a month before the big competition, you draw some of the athlete's blood. Not just any blood, but their peak performance, oxygen-rich blood. Step 2, you freeze it, keeping those precious red blood cells on ice. Now, while that's happening, your body, being the amazing machine it is, just goes ahead and makes all new blood, getting you back to normal. Then comes the final step, the master stroke. A day or two before the race, you thaw out that stored blood and pump it right back in. Boom, you've now got way more red blood cells than any normal human should have. The advantage is just enormous. Okay, that sounds like a lot of work, and it sounds pretty risky, right? So why? Why would anyone do this? The answer, honestly, is pretty simple. It works. It works so well that for some athletes, the potential payoff is just too tempting to ignore. So what does all this extra oxygen actually do? Think of your muscles like an engine. Oxygen is the fuel. By cramming more red blood cells into your system, you're essentially installing a massive turbocharger. You can push harder, go faster, and last way, way longer. Plus, it helps clear out all that lactic acid, the stuff that makes your muscles burn. That means you recover faster too. It's a total game changer.
So, who's the target audience for this kind of thing? It's the endurance crowd, for sure. We're talking about the athletes who have to suffer for hours on end. Your professional cyclists, your marathon runners, triathletes, even cross-country skiers. Any sport where the game is all about who can keep going when everyone else's body is screaming, stop.
But there's always a but, isn't there? This insane performance boost doesn't come for free. There's a dark side to all this, a huge hidden cost. And we're not just talking about getting caught. The side effects are absolutely terrifying. They can be life-altering and sometimes even fatal. This quote really makes it so clear. When you overload your body with red blood cells, your blood literally gets thicker. It stops flowing like water and starts moving more like, syrup or sludge. Now, just take a second and imagine your heart, your poor heart, having to work overtime 24/7 just to pump that thick goo through your entire body. It's a recipe for disaster. And that incredible strain, it leads to some really, really bad places. We're talking about a massively increased risk of heart failure, of strokes, of a pulmonary embolism, which is a terrifying blood clot that travels to your lungs. Oh, and if that's not enough, using too much EPO can wreck your kidneys. And with the transfusions, there's always the nightmare scenario of a mix-up, getting the wrong blood. You're just playing Russian roulette with your own health. Look, these aren't just hypotheticals from a medical textbook. This stuff happens. And to really understand the fallout, what this does to a person's body and their reputation, we have to talk about the biggest, most notorious doping scandal the world has ever seen.
Yeah, we're talking about Lance Armstrong. It's hard to even explain how big he was. He wasn't just a cyclist. He was a global icon, a hero, a cancer survivor who came back to dominate the toughest sport in the world. His story gave hope to millions, which made the truth so much more devastating. We now know his entire legacy was built on one of the most sophisticated doping operations in history.
7. Just let that number sink in for a moment. 7 Tour de France victories. Poof, gone. After he finally confessed, they were all taken away. An entire career, one of the most celebrated in sports, just wiped from the history books.
And this wasn't just him dabbling a bit here and there. No way. The U.S. anti-doping agency literally called it the most sophisticated, professionalized, and successful doping program that sport has ever seen. It was a whole cocktail of stuff: EPO shots, blood transfusions, testosterone, steroids, a whole pharmacy's worth of cheating, all meticulously planned to create a superhuman athlete who could beat the test.
And you might picture this happening in some secret high-tech lab, right? The reality was so much grittier. They were doing this stuff themselves in dingy hotel rooms in the back of the team van. It really pulls back the curtain on the ugly, hidden reality that can exist behind all the glory and fame of professional sports.
So, all of this leaves us with a pretty uncomfortable question, doesn't it? Lance got caught. But for every athlete who gets busted, how many don't? It's this never-ending game of cat and mouse. The testers get smarter, and the cheaters just find new ways to cheat. It really makes you wonder, is the next big superstar, the next hero we all look up to, hiding a winning secret that's flowing right through their veins?